hard for human beings to accept each other's voices and stories as part of a larger human narrative. I'm an Arab, and I'm a Muslim female, and I'm a publisher whose priority for over a decade has been to empower women and support their right to achieve the highest success in what they want in their professional careers. Understanding other voices, accepting them for who they are, requires intentional effort, lots of patience, and abundance of love for one another. And your role as readers is just as important as our role as publishers. What you choose to read and what you demand to read influences our decisions about which authors to promote. For us to have an even slightest hope of a peaceful future, we must hold a mirror up at our society. We must check who is being represented and who is being marginalized. For humanity to exist, platforms such as this one here today are really a right step in the right direction. First of all, thank you for the invitation to come to visit Portugal and to visit the book fair and to meet all of you. If you give everything for free, then writers and publishers don't get paid. And if writers and publishers don't get paid, that's the end of our cultural input to the sector. So it's about explaining to them the value of publishing. And that's something that also we're working on in IPA, is what is the value of publishing? What is the contribution, not just to the economy, but what is the contribution to society, to culture, to economy? You know how we really touch all sectors of society.
I'm Bodour Al Qasimi, President of APEL. The meeting with the President of IPA was extremely useful and inspiring. I think we've learned a lot of new tools that will help the Portuguese publishers and APEL to go into the future. Well, Academy is extremely important because it shows the future. It's probably one of the most interesting tools that IPA is offering to their associates. Here what we are doing is pushing those tools through our associates in order to bring most of our resources that are working in Portuguese publishing industry to the new level and the new paradigm of industry in several areas, from diversity to technology, from inclusion to copyright. All of that is extremely important because as publishers we know the importance of learning, we know the importance of having formation and training that allow people to go forward. So probably at this moment is one of the most interesting actions that IPA has done, and I'm sure that the Portuguese publisher will take advantage of it. In an optimistic way, I think we have a bright future. Books are there for ages. Reading is probably the most important tool that human being has to be able to express himself, to be able to found himself, to understand a very fluid, complex international and real context. So it's through reading that you are able to do it. It's through reading that you are able, to speak and to express. And the most important tool to do that is through books. When you work in this industry, you have a role in the world. You have something to do. And we hope that we can pass over that to new generations, take advantage of what is the opportunity that we have in technology, and continue to have the book to live on forever. It has been there for ages, and I hope it will continue to be there for ages.
I'm Clara Capitão, Publishing Director of Penguin Random House, Portugal. I was very impressed and inspired by Bodour's speech at a meeting, especially by some of the initiatives that took place during her term. The Publish Her initiative, which I find crucial, not only to bring more women into publishing, but to give them more opportunities to progress and to have leading roles in the industry, as they are the majority of the workforce in the industry. Putting them together, making networking sessions between them is essential to inspire that change. So I'm looking forward to working on that in Portugal too. I'm very interested in the Diversity and Inclusion Committee also, because we need to, all around the world in different contexts, we need to bring different people who are not always allowed or to go into the publishing industry because they think it's a kind of an elitistic industry, and we need to destroy that barrier and bring different kinds of people to the industry. And I was also very impressed by the ABC initiative to give access to books to visually impaired people. I think the publishing industry in the last few years has gone through some rough years and challenges, and it has always managed to, survive, find solutions to move forward, and even to grow. The pandemic recently was an example of that. I think one of the big challenges all across the world, in Portugal also specifically, is to attract and retain younger readers. They are the future of our world and also the future of reading. So we need to find ways, innovative ways to communicate with those readers, to love reading for the rest of their lives and not lose them midway as it happens in some places. Also, diversity and inclusion are so important because if you represent society more, you attract different kinds of people and younger people also to books, and that is fundamental. And I hope as an editorial director to be able to do that as well.
Hello, my name is Bodour Al Qasimi. I'm the Secretary General of APEL, the Portuguese Publishers and Booksellers Association, and the organizers of Lisbon Book Fair. And we are quite happy to have the visit to Lisbon Book Fair of the President of IPA, Mrs. Bodour. And we hope that she enjoyed to meet the fair. It's a very old fair. It's in 92 edition. We are open here in a public space, in an open garden of Lisbon. It's a fair to the public, where you can find all the major publishers, present Portuguese publishers. We have a few parts also of international books, but 99% of the offer here, it's general books. We don't have school books here, and it's a fair which usually it's visited by a great part of the Lisbon population. Around half the inhabitants of Lisbon come here. 500,000 people visit us here during the 18 days that the fair takes place. We're having it this year with a renewal of the full concept. We have new stands, new auditoriums, new spaces, and so far it's been a very big success. A lot of audience coming, a lot of people. And hopefully we'll continue this way until the end of the fair, which will happen in the 11th of September.